I saw a tweet recently that really got me thinking. It was this: actors under 40 who people will go to the theaters for. Originally, I was confused where this list came from or how they thought to order them. And then I found out these names were actually compiled from a recent survey conducted by the National Research Group. They asked moviegoers which actors are going to make them hit the theaters and see their movie instead of waiting for a streaming service like Netflix or HBO Max to pick it up. The average age of the 100 actors named as answers to the survey was 57 and a half, which is interesting to say the least. And the 12 names in this tweet were the only ones under age 40 who made the cut. The list includes stars like Jennifer Lawrence, Michael B. Jordan, Emma Watson, and Gal Gadot. It got a lot of attention with over 3 million views and 27,000 likes. There was some good debate in the comments, but it was definitely leaning towards disagreement with the tweet. And I think that's where I stand too. Let's go through some of these names. First, we have Chris Hemsworth, known for his role as Thor and, well, maybe whatever his character's name was in The Cabin in the Woods, but even that's kind of a stretch. Okay, next we have Jennifer Lawrence, probably best known as Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games series and Tiffany in Silver Linings Playbook, where she won an Oscar for Best Actress. Other than that, maybe Mystique in X-Men, but she definitely wasn't the main draw to those movies. She was good in American Hustle too, but outside of these, she's got a lot of stinkers. Tom Holland, who solidified himself as Spider-Man, and, oh yeah, Nathan Drake. I'm gonna stop there because I think you can see where this is going. Sincerely, I'm not trying to dog on them or whoever tweeted this, but am I dying to see Chris Hemsworth if he's not playing Thor? Well, to be honest, at this point, I'm not really dying to see Chris Hemsworth even if he is playing Thor. Did Tom Holland wow me enough as Spider-Man that I want him recast in a new action series? No. I don't really find anyone on this list to be a proven standout actor with a resume full of extraordinary roles. Listen, I like Henry Cavill a lot, and I was bummed when he got canned from DC's future plans. But outside of Superman and Mission Impossible, he's not super relevant. And yeah, I know The Witcher's a popular show, but I don't think your average viewer is dying to see Season 3. I think Timothée Chalamet has a lot of potential. I really liked him in Dune, and Part 2 is probably the movie I'm most excited to see in 2023. But again, he hasn't been in many popular movies that I needed to see in the theaters. And like I mentioned before, I know Jennifer Lawrence won an Oscar for Silver Linings Playbook, but that was over a decade ago, and I feel as though she hasn't been able to recreate that. This leads me to my point, one that is admittedly unoriginal and has been discussed many, many times over the last 5 years or so. Who is this next generation's Tom Cruise? Who's the next Leonardo DiCaprio? Who among today's actors is comparable to Denzel Washington? What happened to iconic actors? If you're watching this video, I'd assume we probably have a lot of similarities in terms of how we grew up with movies. We got to see legends like Robert De Niro, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jack Nicholson, and Meryl Streep fade off into the sunset as their careers winded down. Not to say they weren't still making movies and giving masterful performances, but their unquestionable status had only been being added to at this point. We got to see stars like Denzel Washington, Julia Roberts, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Tom Hanks solidify their place in Hollywood's history book. And lastly, we saw icons in the making paving their way to the top with Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Christian Bale. I figured this trend would keep going, but I think it's kind of been halted over the last 10 years. The reason why? I think the prevalence of franchises has a lot to do with it. Although the discussion of blockbusters versus mid-budget movies has been done to death, I do want to make a future video on it. However, I do think in part this has caused the disappearance of iconic actors. Today's stars in Hollywood are so tied to their franchise roles. Chris Hemsworth is Thor first and foremost, over actually being Chris Hemsworth. Tom Holland isn't Tom Holland, he's Spider-Man. Michael B. Jordan is just Killmonger in Creed. Who's Leonardo DiCaprio though? He's Arnie Grape. He's Romeo. He's Jack Dawson, Frank Abagnale. He's the Wolf of Wall Street. Who's Arnold Schwarzenegger? He's Conan. He's the Terminator, John Matrix, Dutch. And yeah, I know some of the films I listed with Arnold there are technically franchises, The same could be said about an actor like Sylvester Stallone, but there will never be another Terminator who encapsulates the role like Arnold. There will never be another Rocky Balboa other than Stallone in my eyes. But Holland isn't the first rendition of Spider-Man in my lifetime, and he certainly won't be the last either. What does he transition to after Spider-Man 6 or whenever they stop milking him and decide to reboot with another actor? No one cares what Tom Holland's next movie is, we just want to know when Spider-Man 4 is coming out. And although Hemsworth is the first adaptation of Thor on the big screen, are audiences more likely to follow him when he hangs up the hammer, or more likely to see who takes his place? I think audiences today are being trained to follow the franchise rather than the actor. And in the end, I think this could have lasting impacts on the industry. Without trying to sound like a boomer, maybe we're just overexposed to celebrities these days with social media and tabloid news. I think social media like Instagram and Twitter has removed a lot of the mystique behind what were once the most looked up to people in society. Every day you can hop on one of these platforms and see what these people are up to. Wondering what Jennifer Lawrence's outfit is today before she even walks out the door? Check her Instagram story. Want to know where Tim Chalamet gets coffee from and what his usual order is? He tweeted about it the other day. Hell, Brie Larson even has a YouTube channel where she posts vlogs. There's a constant bombardment of information on celebrities such as actors, so much so that we no longer need to watch their movies to get a look at them. The mystery that once surrounded them is gone. And again, not to come off as some grandpa, but the younger generation is just far more enamored with TikTok and YouTube stars than they are actors. Listen, we can get into the discussion of whether movies as a whole are a dying breed another day, but I think it would be ignorant to not recognize that TikTok and YouTube have taken up a large part of Gen Z's attention in terms of where they're getting their entertainment from. I do think attention span has a lot to do with it, and God, I'm really starting to sound like a boomer, so I won't go there. But I think the niche content available now compared to days past plays a huge role too. Whatever it is you're into, it's far more likely that there's going to be more content about it on YouTube or TikTok than there is going to be a movie about it that you can relate to in the same way. It's been interesting seeing people like Mr. Beast, the D'Amelio sisters, and other social media influencers gain more traction than the up-and-coming talent in Hollywood. I think this trend is staring at the movie industry straight in the face, and I think it's an overall negative for movie lovers like me and you. There's just not many young actors pulling me into the theaters. Recently I saw the movie Renfield, and it was purely because Nick Cage was starring in it. Why did I watch Air? It's because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are in it. I just don't get this same feeling among the new crop of Hollywood talent. I hope this trend reverses, but I just don't see that happening anytime soon. And I'm readily able to admit I could be wrong here. Am I overlooking someone? Am I neglecting how hard and time consuming it is to build a reputation in this industry? I don't know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more similar videos to this. Thanks.